Now I want to bring in former defense attorney Gregg Jarrett, now a Fox News correspondent, along with Super Bowl champion Burgess Owens, author of Liberalism or How to Turn Good Men into Whiners, Weenies, and Wimps. Burgess, interesting point that Connell just made, the owner of the San Francisco 49ers, Jet York, saying that the longer that the owners are listening to the players, the harder it's becoming to argue against what they're protesting. I don't think that's the central issue here. It's when they decide to protest is why this has become such a national issue.
It is. It's not only the when, but this really cuts to the core, Charles, I think, of how our young men are being brought up. We have very wealthy now black men that feel they have to go to talk to white men to get answers for a black problem, when actually they have the time, the resources, and just education, understanding where the real enemy is. And it's not the NFL. NFL is 70% of the NFL now are black players, and they're millionaires. So they have the resources. Now, what do they expect the NFL to do? Well, they should be going and talking to their black representatives, the one that's been running these communities for decades, and find out why they have not come to the plate and done their job. That's where the real issue should be.
Burgess, you heard Commissioner Goodell use the word or term social justice, and so if they talk to these folks who are using the same playbook from the 1950s and 60s, this is what you get. You get a demonstration during the middle of the national anthem.
Exactly. And what you have here is the leftists. You have an NFL, we call it crony corporatism. People have never built a business, but they're put in a position to run a business, and now they're running down the brand. At the end of the day, the NFL could have finished this off last year if they weren't the Democrats they were trying to energize the black vote, black base. Personally, I'm tired of my race being used by the Democrats and socialists and Marxists for their political gain. And meanwhile, we're suffering. So we have to get past this.
You know, meanwhile, Roger Goodell and Seahawks wide receiver Doug Baldwin just co-signed a letter in support of criminal justice reform. Gregg, one of the big issues at this meeting, they like to reduce minimum sentencing, eliminate the 3 strikes, and then you get a life sentence thing.
Right.
They want to give judges more latitude. I don't see anything wrong with that particular platform. I just, again, to Burgess's point, you know, how this has come about seems all backwards to me.
You know, it never worked in California with 3 strikes. There's no evidence that these mandatory minimums have ever succeeded in anything but stacking the prisons with some people who really shouldn't be there as long as they are. And, you know, in terms of Roger Goodell sending this letter with a wide receiver of the Seahawks, for Goodell, it's too little too late. This is a guy who 3 years ago, after Adrian Peterson and Ray Rice incidents, had an opportunity to do something meaningful to stop domestic abuse or reduce it. I wrote a column about it. Here's your opportunity. Here's what you should do. A strong public campaign. He never did it because he is a feckless leader who has no backbone.
Real quick, the chances of Kaepernick winning his collusion lawsuit?
0. He would have to prove a verbal or written conspiracy, and he has no legal ability to compel witnesses to testify or subpoena documents to prove it. And the collective bargaining agreement says he has the burden of proof, and just arguing that he's a qualified player unsigned is not enough to prove collusion or conspiracy.
Gregg, Jarrett, and Burgess, thank you both very much.